Hi everybody, I'm Skip Alzheimer. Welcome to the AV Geeks 16mm lunch. I realize that's what I've been calling it in the comments. So maybe that's what I should be doing, is calling it the 16mm lunch. Re-establishing the fact that I eat lunch while we show these films to you. 16mm films, as a matter of fact. I feel like I've seen that kangaroo footage before, boxing the kangaroo. Did I show that recently? Or did I show this film recently? I hope that's not the case, because it wasn't in my spreadsheet of stuff I've shown, but there you go. Yeah. So behind me I have a film scanner, and we have a 16mm film set up there, and this is part of the Screen News Digest, and it always has a sponsor who paid for the distribution of it and paid the film company. And so let's see what we got. This is Feeding the World. Enjoy.
The Screen News Digest is presented to the schools of this area as a public service by the Johnstown Tribune-Democrat. The Tribune-Democrat, another member of your family. Planet Earth, abundant and yet arid. Not enough food for some, but more than enough for others. An age-old challenge, feeding the world. Each new day is a struggle between starvation and survival, life and death, on land that is parched by drought and eroded by wind and time. Hunger and malnutrition, a way of life for upwards of 500 million men, women, and children, 1 out of every 9 human beings on the face of planet Earth. During the 1970s, famine in the sub-Sahara focused attention on the continuing problem of feeding the world. Across the northern part of Africa, from coast to coast, tens of thousands of persons died. The United Nations undertook a massive airlift of food and medical supplies. Individual countries joined in the mercy mission, and though the toll was high, the international rescue operation saved countless lives. But even as the crisis eased, 2 basic problems remained: finding ways and means of increasing the food production of the world, and making certain that a share of this increased production would go to the hungry. In parts of the African nations of Mauritania, Niger, the Sudan, Ethiopia, and Somalia, water has become as precious as silver and gold. Wind and weather patterns are changing, and the people have come to depend more and more on deliveries of water protected by gun-carrying guards. Here, the objective is to maintain and sustain life until the refugees can move to more fertile farms and grazing lands. The World Food Council of the United Nations already is working with some 50 countries on establishing a program for food security. Medical teams which minister to the sick and starving people report that the toll of hunger and malnutrition actually has increased in the last 30 years in spite of the advances made in medicine and science. In many countries on different continents, the search for water is carried on by hand, digging into sand or dirt inch by inch until the first small trace or trickle is found. A back-breaking, painstaking search that must be carried out for the most primitive kind of farming and living. Water, precious water, to be found and transported, sometimes many miles, to rural villages and family farms. Food experts agree that greatly increased investment in technical assistance, irrigation networks, and agricultural research will be needed if the world ever is to achieve freedom from hunger. The World Bank, the chief international lending agency for such projects, is putting 25% of its resources directly into food production. Advances have not been dramatic, but progress has been made. Little by little, farmers in Asia, Africa, and Latin America are reclaiming and replanting land that once was barren and infertile. Food production is going up. But the increase is not enough to keep pace with the growing world population. The $1 billion International Fund for Agricultural Development, heavily financed by Arab oil producers, is directing all of its resources to agricultural development. But even this is only a trickle of the funds needed. Experts believe that at least $600 billion will be required over the next 10 years just to maintain food supplies at the present level of world hunger. No one knows where the money will come from or what will happen if there should be a major global crop failure. But most international food experts agree that there will be more food shortages than surpluses in the 1980s, and a widening gap between those who have plenty to eat and those who must go hungry. The United States is helping in the construction of irrigation projects in underdeveloped nations through AID, the Agency for International Development. But even here, the appropriations and funding are dependent on economic conditions in the United States. Foreign assistance is a prime target for budget cuts in times of recession and depression. And yet, whatever funds are spent, wherever water flows from completed projects, the results are positive, an increase in food production. India is one example. Once written off as hopeless, India has almost tripled its food production in the last 30 years, thanks to financial aid and technical assistance from the United States and the United Nations. Giant dams that harness rivers and help to generate electricity also are raising the hopes and living standards of nations blessed with an abundance of this natural resource. In addition, thanks to new seeds and fertilizers of the so-called Green Revolution, global yields of wheat and corn have jumped 50%. Rice yields are up 30%. But increased production has been offset by increased demand among industrial and developing nations. The United States supplies more than half of the grain in the world. And despite better water management, including timed irrigation, agricultural production appears to be leveling off. Idle cropland has all but disappeared. These two developments may mean that there will be less food available for underdeveloped countries. One food expert already has said that the 1980s almost surely will see a reduction in the rate of growth of exports from the United States. Even if new irrigation techniques and land reclamation projects do enable America to continue to expand food exports indefinitely, there is still a danger in the rest of the world depending on a single source for its food. A decline of more than 10% in the United States grain exports, coinciding with a shortfall somewhere else in the world, would result in a disastrous famine, according to international food officials. In the race between survival and starvation, American farmers are using every available technological tool to turn barren land into productive soil. Application of various methods of irrigation to different kinds of farmlands has made the American farmer the most productive the world has ever known. It is this kind of productivity and technology that must be exported to the world's underdeveloped nations if one day they are to meet their own needs. In the long run, the only real food security for the world is an increase in food production in the underdeveloped countries. Planet Earth is today like a basket that is half full and half empty. In the United States and most industrialized countries, harvests are abundant and in some cases breaking records. But rapidly developing smaller nations such as Mexico, South Korea, and Thailand are buying more food than ever. Mainland China has tripled its food imports in the last 20 years, and its purchases continue to grow. Russia and Poland also have had to import food. The oil-producing countries of the Middle East are becoming a major factor in the problem of feeding the world. They alone have increased their food imports from $350 million to $3 billion in just 10 years. And so, on the one hand, more people are eating better than ever before in history. On the other hand, there are still more hungry people in the world than ever before. The contrast between abundance and shortage is, simply stated, as stark as it ever has been. Millions of undernourished men, women, and children still are doomed to live and work below their normal potential. As more countries and wealthier people gain in purchasing power and consume more food, the world's poorer people will have a harder and harder time getting enough to eat. While years pass and time marches on, hundreds of millions must continue their struggle to meet the most basic human need, a full stomach. The inequality between the haves and have-nots widens, and this gap will continue to grow, food experts say, until science and technology enable the third world nations to cultivate their unused farmlands. To avoid the grim fulfillment of the Malthusian scenario of mass starvation and global doom, the family of nations must find a lasting solution to the problem of feeding the world.
The Screen News Digest has been presented to the schools of this area by the Johnstown Tribune Democrat. The Tribune Democrat, another member of your family.
That was a downer. And so if this was a Screen Science report, then it would be about how science has fixed the problem of famine and not about that there's famine and potential famine. So I'm sorry. It was very much a downer. You know, here we plan this wonderful student picnic. You guys are all happy to have lunch together. And then I showed this downer film. I gotta say, it was Chick that made me do it. So it's Chick's fault. What are you guys gonna do about it?
Please, Chick, that hurts. Don't do it anymore.
Are you gonna be on my side if I let you up?
Sure, Chick, sure. I'm on your side. Just let me up. I'll do anything you say.
Okay, Skipper. You're on my side.
Sure, Chick, I'm on your side.
Okay, let's go find the other fellas.
Hi, fellas.
Hi, Fred.
Hi, look what I got.
Where'd you get that?
Dad gave it to me for my birthday.
All my old man ever gave me was a good lick.
Just the same, that's where I got it.
Get off, I want to ride it.
Oh, no, Chick, not my new bike. Did he hurt you, Raymond? No, he didn't hurt me. But gosh, my new bike. I don't like that guy. Why doesn't he pick on Fred Smith or somebody his own age? Or always running around with him? Oh, I don't know. Are you afraid of him? Who, me? Me afraid of him?
Hey, look, no hands.
Oh, my new bike!
It was voted that the class picnic would be held next Friday afternoon in Riverside Park. Was appointed chairman of the picnic committee. The meeting was then adjourned.
Thanks, Betty. I'll have a report from Fred Smith on the plans for the picnic.
Betty and Ginger and I had a meeting over at Ginger's house last Tuesday. We made a list of things everyone had to bring. Ginger, do you have that list?
Yes, I have the list and all the names right here. We'll post it on the bulletin board tomorrow. Then everyone can see what to bring.
I think we should have lots of copies made and given to everyone in the class.
All right. I'll make up a bunch of them. Now, who's going to the picnic?
Why, everyone in the class, I suppose.
Oh, gee whiz.
Do we have to include that Chick, Allen? If he comes, he'll bring those other boys that he bullies around, and he'll just make trouble.
I guess we have to. He is one of the class.
But those younger boys, they don't have to come, do they?
Well, if he comes, he'll bring them too.
Hey, look what I got.
Let me see it.
Aw, Chick.
Let me see it. Oh, this is nothing. Just something about an old class picnic. Wait a minute. This gives me an idea. Where's this picnic gonna be?
Riverside Park.
Riverside Park. We can have some fun at this picnic.
Well, sure. You always have fun at a picnic.
No, that's not what I'm thinking, Simple. I mean some real fun. Look, we can fix this picnic. All we have to do is this. Okay, does everybody know what they're supposed to do?
Yeah, sure, Chick. We got it.
Golly, Chick, I don't think we ought to.
You don't think we ought to what?
Nothing, Chick, nothing.
Well, all right.
Skipper? What's the matter?
There isn't anything the matter.
Did I do something?
No, you didn't do anything. Just go away and leave me alone, will you?
I'm sorry if I did anything.
Ginger?
Do you know Chick Allen? I know who he is. He's in our class.
And Ginger? Well, Chick's gonna do something terrible to ruin your picnic. And I'm supposed to help him.
The picnic?
Yeah, the picnic.
But Skipper, why the picnic?
Oh, I don't know why the picnic. It's just Chick. It's the way he is. He's not happy unless he's breaking something or hurting somebody.
But it's a class picnic. It's for everybody. It's for him, too.
Oh, that doesn't mean anything to him. Not Chick. It was a picnic for his own family. He just as soon busted up as not.
What have you got to do with it, Skipper?
I'm supposed to get mud and mess up the picnic table.
It'll be awful. And what's your friend Chick going to do?
Well, he's gonna... Golly, I don't know what he'll do.
Just as I do all the dirty work. He's a big shot.
I'll do it.
Then why do you go around with that Chick Allen anyway? Why do you let him get you into things like this?
Oh, I don't know. It's just, well...
Don't worry, Skipper. We'll think of some way to take care of Chick Allen. I can't tell you how I found out, but I did, and it's terrible. They're going on the picnic tables and light big firecrackers. They're even going to steal the food. There won't be any picnic left when they get through. What are we going to do?
I know what I'm going to do. I'm over to Chick Allen in the know what I'm going to do.
I'm going to. Let's go get him.
Sure.
Now, wait a minute.
Wait, nothing. I'm going to go get him right now.
Let's go.
Yeah.
No, wait a minute. Let me tell you something. If we all go after Chick now, he won't have to break up the picnic. He'll have had his fun just seeing how mad he made us. Now listen, what we got to do is simple. All we got to do is to get the other kids and go down.
Skip,
Yeah?
I don't think we ought to do it. Do you?
Oh, I don't know.
You mean you want to?
Oh, I didn't say that.
No, but...
Raymond, can you keep a secret?
Well, sure.
Promise you won't tell.
Well, sure.
Everything's gonna be all right.
What do you mean everything's going to be all right?
The other kids know what Chick's planning for us to do at the picnic.
Oh, my gosh, they'll kill us.
No, they won't. It's gonna be all right.
But, Skip, I don't see how...
Look, you just do what Chick tells you to.
But I don't see how...
It's gonna be all right, Raymond. It's gonna be all right.
Okay, you guys all know what you're going to do. Billy, you got those firecrackers? Tommy, is that bucket of mud ready?
Yeah, Chick, it's ready.
Okay, let's splice this mud on these tables. Now, here's how we're going to do it. The minute the class gets off the bus, you light those firecrackers. And when the bus stops and everybody gets out and comes running to see what the noise is, the rest of you guys jump in the bus and make off with the food. Then we'll run over there in the woods and watch the fun. This ought to be pretty good. All right, now, let's get to work. Let's mess this place up a little.
My gosh, Chick, I'm getting tired of waiting. I'm getting hungry, too.
Oh, shut up. They'll be here in a little while.
But what if they don't come?
They'll come all right.
Well, here comes someone anyway.
Hi, Chick. Hi, Barney. What do you want?
I got something for you.
What is it?
I don't know.
Let me see it. All right, you boys. We're going to Clinton Park.
But hey! Dear Chick, when we heard what you were going to do at the picnic at Riverside Park, we changed it to Clinton Park. Hope you'll change your plans and come on over. The class.
Boy, this sure is going to be a good picnic. Boy, it sure is, in spite of Chick Allen's big plans.
Say, I wonder what's the matter with him anyway.
Oh, I don't know. I think he's just kind of mixed up.
Why do you suppose he's always blowing somebody around? How come he's always showing off? Why can't he just be satisfied to have fun with the rest of us?
I don't know. He sure got me buffaloed.
Me too. I wonder what he'll do when he gets our notes. You don't suppose he'll really come over here, do you? Uh-oh, look.
Okay now, remember what we said if he did come. It's up to Chick. If he wants to be like one of us, all right. If not...
Yes, Chick, it's up to you. Can you be satisfied just to have fun with the rest of them? Are you really so brave, or are you the one who is afraid? Have you learned anything from the way the class has treated you? And you, members of the class, were you right in secretly moving the location of the picnic? How will you treat Chick Allen now? How will you act? Do you still think you handled the bully problem in the right way? Could anything else have been done about Chick, the bully? What do you think?
See, I had no choice as skipper. Chick Allen was going to pummel my face in, and so I had to show that depressing film about world famine. No, that film is so great. It's part of this series that Centron Film put out, and it was distributed through Young American Films, but they did a whole series of these. They did one called The Show Off, they did The Outsider, The Gossip, The Bully. So good. And the idea is it's open-ended, and it is designed to let the kids, students, process and come up with their own solutions on how they would deal with these different type of social issues, these characters who are making it difficult for everybody else. And I think that is very positive and progressive for that time, because other educational film companies didn't really start doing this until the late 60s and 70s. And here's Centron doing it in the 50s. What is a cat? Really? What is a cat? Let's find out.
The cat walked into man's life several thousand years ago. It came from the lands of its wild ancestors, from the high mountains, from the jungles, from the Great Plains. Slowly and hesitantly, it came to settle among us. For us, the cat has become a companion and a stranger, an object of admiration and fear, a symbol of beauty and mystery, of angelic grace and demonic powers. What is a cat? There is no one answer. A cat is an enigma, a riddle of hidden meanings, a paradox, a puzzle. And although cats have been domesticated, man has not tamed their wild spirit. Cats are skillful hunters instinctively, physically equipped to catch prey. With eyes set in front for tracking, with padded paws which are firm and sure and quiet. With sleek muscles designed for leaping and pouncing, and with retractable claws which they keep well sharpened. Cats hunt everywhere, for their prey belongs to the air, the land, and the water. Their hunting instinct goes so deep that they keep in practice by hunting anything, real or imagined. Cats climb trees to hunt, to rest, to escape, or just to feel secure. Cats are defenders. Of their territory, they're possessive, always alert to danger. Of their young, they're fiercely protective. Cats not only shelter their kittens from all intruders, but train them well to go out to meet the world. Cats are clean in all their personal habits. Cats play for the pleasure of it, in every field and around every corner. A patch of grass to hide in, or to eat. Something to rub against, or roll on. Whether it's a warm spot to sun in, or a quiet walk, cats make the most trivial things a source of delight. Cats love freedom, and solitude, and just to be alive. And in one life or nine, the cat has always stirred our imaginations. Self-contained, aloof, wary, he's the source of a lively stream of myths, legends, and superstitions. Those eyes that dilate at night and shine in the dark, are they the eyes of a feline monster that demands human sacrifice? Or are they the eyes of an enchanting moon goddess? Cats have been either worshipped or scorned, admired or feared. From the beginning, they have provoked man's deepest emotions. Approximately 5,000 years ago, wild cats from the northern part of Africa wandered into the Nile Valley and were domesticated. They looked very much like today's Abyssinian cats. At first, the Egyptians used these cats to guard granaries. Later, they were also trained to retrieve. Bastet, goddess of life, fertility, and happiness, had the body of a woman and the head of a cat. The temple of Bastet preserved the mummies of tens of thousands of cats. They were regarded as religious symbols, worshipped for their beauty and grace. Cats were honored as the companions of goddesses in other pagan religions too. But the adoration the cat received in ancient times only led to a death sentence in the Middle Ages. As the medieval cult of the Norse goddess Freya spread, cats became identified with witchcraft, Satan, and evil, and witches were thought to assume the form of black cats. The church, determined to snuff out sorcery, hunted them down. Ownership of a cat was punished by death. And though we may be far from the dark ages now, the world is still sprinkled with people who are superstitious about cats, particularly black ones. The next step was again inevitable for the paradoxical cat. He became a hero. The Great Plague swept over Europe, destroying hordes of people. Cats killed the disease-carrying rats and began to be valued again. Since the last century, hardly a home in Europe has been without a cat. They have assumed their rightful place in our households. More than useful mousers, they are companions, friends, members of the family. It is the nature of the cat that allows him to adapt to our world and bask in the warmth of our affections. The romance between cat and man takes many forms. We are kindred enough for a cat to love, to appreciate, and yet alien enough for a cat to ignore. But when he wants our attention, he is insistent, persistent, demanding. cat will try to con man out of almost anything. He demands an equal place in the family and lets us know his desires. As demanding and persistent as he may be, the cat can change his mind in an instant. His personality is a contrary mixture of dependence and self-sufficiency. He may trade on a bit of his independence, for he would rather lean on us than fend entirely for himself. He likes the special foods we feed him, foods we have developed to meet all his nutritional needs. He'll accept our home as a safe domain. We give him a place to sleep, litter boxes, scratching posts in place of trees, and toys in place of prey. Indoors, the cat lives in an imaginative world with tree-like objects to climb upon and scamper in, caves to hide in and explore. Every object may become a challenge to his curiosity, a conquest, an adventure. And there are endless perches from which to make and watch the fascinating world of fun, danger, threat, and pleasure. Unlikely as it seems, cats often make friends with dogs, sometimes with complete trust and comfort. Cats befriend other animals too, even their natural prey. But their best friends and bitterest enemies are other cats. They speak to each other in secret dialects. Their games have rules known only to themselves, discussed at length at outlandish hours over backyard fences. Hidden in the night, they bring out their secret lives, their loyalties, jealousies, affections, and hatreds, which we can never hope to see. Though we may think we own him, we'll never be the center of the cat's world. He remains a free spirit. His complex personality, tuned by instinct, tempered by adaptability, resists definition. Loyal and fickle, dignified and comical, sassy and demure. Take any adjective, and you'll find a cat lurking behind it. To understand the cat, we must accept him and cherish him on his own terms, as an animal, half friend, half mystery.
So is that a promotional film for cats? So weird. So weird. Because it dabbles in science and history of humans with cats, but it really is just more about, oh, cats, they're so mysterious and so fun and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, it's really weird. All right. This will run over, but here's how to a cautionary film to live in darkness. Enjoy.
These are the blind, those who find it theirs to live in darkness. Men who once had the precious gift of sight. Men who never again will thrill at the sight of trees, mountains, and the rising of the sun. Who are never again to know the face of loved ones. Hearing and feeling the sounds of life, but not seeing. And the greatest tragedy is that George Willoughby need not be blind today, nor young Bill Hutchins, nor should this man, Big Steve Kovac, be in the tortured position of not knowing his condition until his bandages are removed.
Well, Doc, let him be okay?
We'll know more in a few days.
Thanks.
Can't you tell me anything more?
No, they need not be in the unenviable condition they find themselves today. But George, Bill, and Steve are casualties of thoughtlessness. Of course, at the shipyards and in the shops, they call them accidents. Accidents? Well, let's see. Take George Willoughby, for instance. Certainly he knew his job. He'd been doing the same work for almost 15 years. He always saw to it that the wheel guard was in place so as not to endanger himself and his fellow workers. Yes, everything was always pretty much in order with George. That is, with the exception that George usually kept his goggles tucked away in his back pocket. That very afternoon, after lunch, it happened. metal particles in both eyes. It was one of those unusual cases. Vision totally destroyed. Doomed to solid blackness to the end of his days. George Willoughby learned the value of wearing goggles the hard way, when it was too late. There was a lot of kidding the day that sign went up in the dipping shed. As a matter of fact, there was usually a lot of kidding about a good many of the posters that went up. But then again, maybe they did do some good. For whether they knew it or not, the men took the advice of those signs seriously. Wore their rubber mask-type goggles to ensure maximum protection from splashing acids and chemicals. And that went for young Bill Hutchins, too. You can't be too careful when you're working with acids. But one day, Bill had a lot of more important things on his mind. And when he showed up for work, he didn't have his goggles. Of course, he knew better than to work without them. But it was a lot of trouble going for a replacement pair. And, well, he wouldn't forget them tomorrow anyway. Tomorrow? Well, tomorrow was too late in Bill's case. He forgot, took a chance, and lost. Lost the gift that can never be regained, and all due to thoughtlessness. Here's one that can be plenty tough on the eyes, too. Welding. Not only on the welders, but on other workers who might happen along without the proper eye protection. That's the reason for safety enclosures. The reason they must always be used. For acetylene welding, cutting and burning operation, cup goggles which allow an ample flow of air and exclude injurious light rays and sparks are adequate protection. But on arc welding jobs, helmets with protective glare goggles underneath to safeguard when the helmet is raised are vitally essential. That's where Big Steve Kovac got his. Steve was always a careful worker. Kept screens up to protect his fellow workers. Always wore his welding helmet and goggles underneath. But one day, Steve's goggles gave him trouble. He'd neglected cleaning them for a long time and they got fogged up on him. Steve knew the thing to do was to take the time and have his goggles cleaned and sterilized. But it was almost quitting time. So he figured he might as well stick it out. He'd remember to cut off his arc before raising his helmet. Well, Steve was just finishing up when the whistle blew. Then it happened. For 10 minutes of seemingly innocent carelessness, days of anxious waiting. And even then, who knows? What does it mean to lose the gift of sight? Perhaps you'd like to know. All right. To give you just a faint idea, suppose we try a little experiment. I've marked off 30 seconds on the clock. During those 30 seconds, I want you to close your eyes. Close them and keep them closed. Don't cheat now. Ready? All right, close. Uh-oh, keep them closed. Time. Well, that was only 30 seconds. Only half a minute. How do you think you'd enjoy spending the rest of your life in such blackness? You wouldn't? Well, the only sure way is to play it safe. When babbiting, wear your helmet. Should even a drop of water fall into the molten metal or water condense in the mold, the hands, face, and eyes may be splattered. For any process where protection from gases, fumes, and liquids is required, goggles must be of rubber frame type, tightly fitting and resistant to chemicals. Light, comfortable face shields should always be worn for woodworking, spot welding, and light grinding. While for heavy impact grinding processes, goggles with super tough lenses and adjustable bridge are the only sure way to protect the eyes against the possibility of heavy impact. Don't take any chances with your eyesight. Get to know the goggles section. Get to know the man in charge. Replacement goggles are always available. Ask for them. Make certain your goggles fit properly. If they don't, have them checked and adjusted. There is a particular type of goggle for every type of work where there exists the slightest possibility that eye accidents may occur. Get them and wear them. And not only get them and wear them, keep them clean. Keep the lenses free of all dirt, oil, and fog. Every so often, sterilize them as a safeguard against possible eye infections. No matter what your job, if you think you should have goggles, ask for them. Wear them. Wear them properly. And keep them clean. Always remember that the one who benefits most by wearing goggles is you. Don't be one of those people who sometimes forgets. It doesn't always end in tragedy, but it can. George Willoughby can tell you. My eyes! My eyes! And so can Bill Hutchins. Oh! And so can Big Steve Kovac. Don't work without your goggles. Don't let yourself slip up for any reason. Don't let happen to you what happened to me. Oh, I guess I forgot to tell you. I'm George Willoughby. So you see, I know what I'm talking about. I'm blind, a casualty of carelessness. Take a tip from me. Wear your goggles. Play it safe.
The Shake Hands with Danger re-envisioned song, but there's so many things to talk about that I wanted to talk about we're actually going over, but I'll play it. Maybe I'll find another safety film and show that tomorrow. Anyway, so those screams, man, so close to the Wilhelm scream, and there was some talk in the comments about the Wilhelm scream, And I don't know if you saw in the news, well, the news, I guess in what I follow as far as archival stuff, is they found the original tapes for the Wilhelm scream, where there's multiple takes. If you don't know what that is, look up Wilhelm scream on YouTube and see what you can find. One of those screams in this last film sounded a little like it, but it wasn't exactly the same. We tend to have more of the nervous Norvis, the screeching of the brakes, and then the that tends to show up a lot in what we do. Also, it's very clear that if I want to make money off you guys, I just have to show cat films. Because thank you so much, Rich, and thank you, Jeremy, for the donations for that weird promotional film that was also sponsored by Friskies about cats. Like, was that shown in schools? I mean, I got it from a school, so obviously it was shown at least in one school system, but what a strange film that is. The more I think about it, the more I'm just kind of puzzled by it. Yeah. I mean, we've shown films like that before, but they're generally for a product, like, some sort of industrial product, or that, like the one we showed yesterday, which was for the American Association of Mechanical Engineers, which was talking about how great mechanical engineers were for innovation and for the country. Anyways, they donated via the super thanks button in the YouTube chat, so thank you for that. You can also donate by going to ko-fi.com/avgeeks or patreon.com/avgeeks, but also just hitting the thumbs up button or the like button. Even if you've done it recently, doing it periodically tells our algorithm overlords that I am worthy to continue my channel in spite of all the copyright notifications that I get every day. So another way that you can support us is watch other films that we have on our channel. We have many, and we keep adding new ones because we're actively scanning 10 or so a day, and of which you've only seen a tiny portion of them. And some of them are silent, some of them are stock footage, but this helps support us because we get ad revenue and stuff like that. And so thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. What does that mean for someone who collects films? It means it's another day to show you films. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you soon. Take care.